Pro-life leader denounces FBI dodges prosecution activists. Different America, 3 pro-life activists face up to 11 years in prison under the Justice Department. The recent arrests and federal charges against pro-life activists represent a blatant politicization of the government, Life Issues Institute President Bradley Mattis told Fox News Digital. Mattis, who has spent over 40 years involved in the pro-life movement, discussed his concerns over reports from Department of Justice, DOJ, that 3 activists were convicted of federal civil rights conspiracy and freedom of access to clinic entrances, Act offenses after protesting outside a clinic. Based on the charges, each defendant faces up to 11 years in prison. 3 years of probation and a fine of up to $350,000. By contrast, Mattis noted, pro-choice activists have hardly been prosecuted. It's a blatant politicization of the FBI and Department of Justice. Our government is being weaponized against us. They are using these resources against their political foes, people who dare disagree with them. It is something that really Americans should look at, and it should send a chill up their spine, because this is not the America we know and loved. It's a different America now. And I'm really worried about the future, not just for pro-lifers, but anybody who stands up for the truth and integrity, Mattis said. During a House Judiciary Committee meeting on Wednesday, Representative Chip Roy, Republican Texas, reported that the DOJ prosecuted 126 instances of alleged crimes by pro-life groups but only 4 instances of alleged crimes by pro-choice groups under U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland's tenure. The DOJ say that they are not biased against pro-lifers, they're not biased against faithful Catholics. But that's not true. Congress has seen the memos. They've seen the emails. All that clearly demonstrates there is a bias. They just can't lie their way out of it, Mattis said. 5 other pro-life activists also faced charges of conspiracy against rights and violating the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, Act. In August, they were all found guilty of these charges and similarly face up to 11 years in prison. Mattis also pointed to the example of Mark Houck, a pro-life activist who was arrested in his home by 15 to 20 armed FBI agents in front of his family back in September 2022. They come to the door, and they try to intimidate, and the people involved, and it's a scary third world country that we seem to be living in where they can do this and get by with it, he said. Mattis added, and that was by design. That was to send an intimidating message to pro-lifers everywhere. You cross us, and you're going to pay a price. Despite the intimidating FBI and DOJ, Mattis encouraged other activists to remain steadfast and defend not only unborn lives but their fellow pro-lifers. He explained, "Well, I think we should be as vociferous as we possibly can be. I advocate that we operate within the bounds of the law, which Mark Houck was doing, by the way, when he was made to be victimized in such a brutal fashion. We need to make sure that we are a voice not only for the voiceless babies, but also for those who are being victimized by our own government. We've got to be vocal about this and make sure that as many people hear about this as possible. I think that we can be a beacon of light in the dark world," Mattis said.